I know the air I'm breathing, it's no good for my lungs. I do this every season, I hate when summer comes. I fall into a trap that I made by myself. Oh, and I always do the wrong thing. I'm unstable and I'm unsteady, I've lost a million times already, and I'm so sorry, but I'm not able to slow down. I feel unable and so unworthy, my heart feels heavy, I've lost already, and I'm so sorry, but I'm not able to slow down now. And I'm so sorry, but I'm not able to slow down now. And I'm so sorry, but I'm not able to slow down now. I'm always self-destructive, I take a hit, I love it. Can you give me a second? I'm slow, got blurry vision. I fall into a trap that I made by myself. Oh, and I always do the wrong thing. I'm unstable and I'm unsteady, I've lost a million times already, and I'm so sorry, but I'm not able to slow down. I feel unable and so unworthy, my heart feels heavy, I've lost already, and I'm so sorry, but I'm not able to slow down now. Please help me see the things that I am, I don't understand. I'm doing the best that I can right now, but it's never enough. I'm not even ready to slow down. Just slow down. And I'm so sorry, but I'm not able to slow down now. And I'm so sorry, but I'm not able to slow down now. I know the air I'm breathing, it's no good for my lungs. I do this every season, I hate when summer comes. I fall into a trap that I made by myself. Oh, and I always do the wrong thing. I'm unstable and I'm unsteady, I've lost a million times already, and I'm so sorry, but I'm not able to slow down. I feel unable and so unworthy, my heart feels heavy, I've lost already, and I'm so sorry, but I'm not able to slow down now. And I'm so sorry, but I'm not able to slow down now. And I'm so sorry, but I'm not able to slow down now. I'm always self-destructive, I take a hit, I love it. Can you give me a second? I'm slow, got blurry vision. I fall into a trap that I made by myself. Oh, and I always do the wrong thing. I'm unstable and I'm unsteady, I've lost a million times already, and I'm so sorry, but I'm not able to slow down. I feel unable and so unworthy, my heart feels heavy, I've lost already, and I'm so sorry, but I'm not able to slow down now. Please help me see the things I know the air I'm breathing, it's no good for my lungs. I do this every season, I hate when summer comes. I fall into a trap that I made by myself. Oh, and I always do the wrong thing. I'm unstable and I'm unsteady, I've lost a million times already, and I'm so sorry, but I'm not able to slow down. I feel unable and so unworthy, my heart feels heavy, I've lost already, and I'm so sorry, but I'm not able to slow down now. And I'm so sorry, but I'm not able to slow down now. And I'm so sorry, but I'm not able to slow down now. I'm always self-destructive, I take a hit, I love it. Can you give me a second? I'm slow, got blurry vision. I fall into a trap that I made by myself. Oh, and I always do the wrong thing. I'm unstable and I'm unsteady, I've lost a million times already, and I'm so sorry, but I'm not able to. And he's pedal to the metal, go, go, go!
Welcome back to a long wait. We're back racing once again for round 6 at the home of His Majesty the King's land of Britain on the Silverstone circuit. As you can see to my side, I will get that right, is Stuart today, as George is not able to be here. But Stuart, how are you today?
I am good. I do have the flu, but my voice is back to normal. So that helps.
This is why we're at distance and we're on calls.
Pretty much.
So of course I don't know how much of the F4 league you have seen, but I know that you are very active within the scene, and I want to briefly talk about last week's race very quickly. You know, it was Monaco provided us with a bit more action than what we expected. I think we had a total of 3 actual overtakes on track, but strategy played out the most, and penalties particular, seeing Jane Tripkov taking his first win after not scoring points in the last 4 races. And the top 3 contenders, Thomas Lammen, Rashin and Milan Mayer, in those order, did not score big points. Now we're at Britain, it's a different field, isn't it?
Absolutely, and the field is so close together anyway. Like, pretty certain, like, most of that is still only one season, and it's only halfway through, pretty much.
Absolutely, yeah. So round 6, so we've got 11 races, and just to give you an idea, Thomas Lammen has got 38 points. In second place, Rashan, who drives that Ferrari and we know can put on a good show, It's currently 6 points behind. And then 1 point behind him is then Milan Mayer. And then, unfortunately, the next person, Leonard, got promoted, so it'll be Andrew Molnaire is then 14 points behind the leader. So a lot to play with right now. Talking of the track, Britain, what a circuit that is, though.
I mean, not saying I'm biased or anything, but I'm completely biased. Because at the end of the day, it is a track that I very much like. When there was talk of potentially removing it from the F1 season, it was literally pretty sure the whole country banded against F1 for that. Like, I'm pretty sure even the Queen.
At the time, yeah. I think everyone was disappointed at the idea that it could be removed, and I wouldn't say we don't have any other good tracks. You've got tracks like Brands Hatch, you've got Donington, that could take its place, but realistically, Silverstone has a very deep history behind it. And talking of the track, do you want to talk us through the track a bit?
Yeah, I was actually just going to mention, Brands cannot actually host F1 races anymore.
Oh.
But anyway, talking through the track, this is I've lost the track map, unfortunately.
Oh, I have to screen it. It is a beautiful circuit with lovely 18 corners. I can't remember the mileage off the top of my head because I don't have that up on my screen. As we are getting right into qualifying, which I want with this track, and I feel is a very, very important point to make, is a lot of people like this track for the pure fact that it's a very mixed ability track. So you get a lot of drivers able to push hard, and the track challenges you in different ways.
Exactly, and it's a case of just knowing when to send it and when to not. I think that's the biggest thing, and I'm not going to mention anything. I know people are thinking it. But the point is, it's knowing when to send it and when to not send it, or when to make your move. Because Silverstone, you can pretty much gain back time in any part of the track. You don't necessarily need to be ahead of someone at a certain point and make up the time. It's a very easy track to build back up your time as long as you stick within the slipstream.
Sorry, just trying to make sure things are running. It is, my apologies. Yeah, and you are right, there are a lot of areas of this track that, as you mentioned, you can gain, lose quite a bit, particularly areas where I feel you lose probably the most, and critically is the hardest area, is turns 10, 11, 12, 13 and 14, known Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel, which is when it kind of crosses over at the end of the second sector. I feel a lot of drivers will make the most mistakes in those areas, and can gain a lot if they put trust in the car and through the setup.
You do have a lot of lag on the broadcast, so you might want to stop the Discord.
How much lag are we talking?
A lot. Like, it's 2 FPS.
Oh, God, no.
Yeah, Discord screen shares can be a nightmare.
Oh, even on the stream itself. All right.
Yes. It's because, your Discord uses graphics card.
Sugar. Bear with me. Bear with me. We will fix this. I do apologize, everybody, for the thing. Let's see if this does fix it.
Oh, nearly. No.
Let's have a look. See if we got that fixed. I'm constantly monitoring what is happening. Well, we could do a radio podcast while it happens, as Jane Tripkoff will be the first driver to cross the start-finish line. And do you want to talk through the track? Oh, look at that. Look at the quality as it comes back. Yeah, I've just seen it on the stream. A little bit of delay. We're back to normal.
It's amazing how much Discord can lag your stream.
Absolutely.
But yeah, you mentioned Tripkoff. Just sat watching from the external view now. Gotta say, I do love that hassle every day.
Yes.
Ever since they changed it.
I've got to say, I agree with you with that.
The thing is, it's just,
I was going to say, Tripkoff, going through the section we talked about Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel. It's a very difficult area because through Maggots and Beckett's, you are technically going through those flat out, and it's when you come into Chapel, that's where you tap the brakes. That's where you really make and lose some sections. through Stowe. Again, tap the brakes, fly it in, and then through Vale chicane, and you can gotta cut as much as you can and not lose out too much. Push too wide here, you invalidate. Across the line, what we set in today, 126.8. I think we can get this down to 126. I feel
just going through the 127, 126.9 from QKS.
I feel we could go lower.
126.7 from Schumacher.
Yeah, we could go lower. I think we could be looking at maybe 126.3s is probably going to be the limit today.
126.5.
Yeah. Already
We're
getting
dropping.
low. We're already dropping, and this is only on the first run.
Coming round to finish the lap. Troy Parker has left the session.
And already, you can see Liam Stevens putting himself into third. And where's Thomas Lamon? Where is our championship leader? Lamon coming round the Vale chicane. He really needs to put his foot down because he's had a good start and he seems to have dropped off. And there you go. Thomas Lamon, the slowest out of the bunch. Meanwhile, championship contender Rishan, who's in second, putting his foot down and he's already in second.
That up, maybe? I'm just thinking, because Silverstone is not the easiest to set up for, because it's got incredibly long straights but incredibly high downforce corners, i.e. Maggots and Beckett's. You don't want no downforce through there.
Potentially, yeah. But to be that far off the pace, 5/10 off your championship contender's pace is something that is quite worrying. You know, these guys are tier 4. You're starting to see drivers who will have connections with the F1 Esports series, and this is where really the big drivers are. You can see a lot of them have teams of their own, particularly Jane Triptyakov, part of Shazoo, FRV Rishan, FES Andrew Molnar. They're part of teams, so you would expect a setup to be strong amongst these guys. So.
Just having a look at Jirafu down the bottom of the listing right now. Apologies if I cough quite a lot, because I am basically just chugging water. So we are going into Maggots and Beckett's with Jirafu. I think the thing is just knowing where they are on this part here, because that's a 103. Most drivers are going through with a 104. So I think we'll probably see them slot in somewhere 12th or 13th.
Sounds about.
But we'll see closer to the. No, I don't think we're going to see them slot in there at all. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wow, 8th. Under the 26s. Into the 26s. Apologies.
Well, it's a good lap indeed, putting himself 8th fastest. Ben amongst the mid-pack, Garufu. One day we'll pronounce your name right because that is such an awkward name. But on the track and deciding to go for the alternate strat amongst other drivers. And we see this a lot with drivers who don't want to be amongst the pack. And I just want to pick your brain. You do a lot of racing yourself. Why would a driver decide, I'm going to go against the grain and go out later?
I'm not sure on that one, because at the end of the day, I prefer to go out later anyway. But I prefer to go out straight away when the track. Sorry, I prefer to go out straight away when the track is dead, and there's no one on it, because then you basically get a nice easy run around the track with no one on it. However, going out later can also mean better track levels of grip.
As Istvan Nage will invalidate on the exit of car, so we're gonna see a few of those. I don't know any other areas you would point out that are danger for invalidations.
Well, Dobbs, as you said, you also got Stowe taking it way too wide on the exit. There you go. That was an outlap, so it's going to be a little more lenient. The biggest one for going a little bit too wide is actually out of Beckett's. So with Mitos Karafalidis here, it's that. When you go wide just off of the track to the left to gain as much time as possible. Well, and of course, the last corner.
Well, we're going to watch the second runs begin. The run will be in favour of Nicola Adelaide. Going to be starting his run, and he's got to, he's got some ground to close. 4 tenths behind What we mentioned about Maggots and Beckett's and Chapel being one area to improve. What you mentioned there's a few. What other areas are we seeing drivers being able to gain and lose time?
Anytime straight there, as he just went through that corner there, you can gain a lot of time by cutting close to the corner, but you can also invalidate. It's very easy to invalidate there. And also using all of that right-hand side of the track and cutting back in is a really easy place to go wrong. It is just a case of Silverstone is a track completely about consistency, as there you go, touching the curb there, nearly sends the whole car into a spin. So it's completely about consistency. Oh, just on the track limits.
Yeah, we saw quite a big lift from Adelaide through the exit of Cop, as
they are.
through the exit of the S section, and
They're up.
They are up on time, but it's not by a lot, and I don't think that will be enough to gain a position himself. And being in P9, this is a prime position for points, and Nicola Adelaide, he's again another driver amongst this mid-pack. He needs more points than just 2 right now. This is, of course, this is qualifying, so there is room for improve, and he will find himself 1 position.
I mean, I'd assume it's Nicola Aleda. Is that the thing is the potential is there. It's just linking the corners together.
Absolutely.
I think with Silverstone it is a track of like thousandths. Like you have to just hit the corners exactly how you want them every single time. It's just so difficult.
And it's pronounced Alda.
I'd assume it's Aleda.
Aleda. Thank you very much,
right,
Richie. Thank you.
I don't know. I just want to double check if it's Aleda.
It is Aleda. According to Richie, it is Aleda. Thank you very much. I do apologise for calling for you Adelaide.
We got Tamas Gal. Whoa! Just I say that. Whew.
Gone off the track.
Yep, Tamas Gal has gone straight off.
Not where you want to be again. Thomas Gal, again a front runner, I would say, amongst this group. He's put himself in good positions, a couple of retirements previously, and finding himself. I've got to remember rightly. I think he was 3rd. I'm going to confirm that. In the last race, so he needs. Give me a second. I'm going to confirm this. I hate getting facts wrong.
So we've got Rashan heading through. I'm not entirely sure if they're on the fast lap. It doesn't look like it. Just based by how far they did not move
2
out.
tenths up.
Wow.
2 tenths down, sorry. On it. No, it is up on his time. He's looking to improve. This could, if he gets it right, he will take the pole position of 1:26.3.
Exactly, and we do have Liam Stevens coming round also on a fast lap.
That is Steven in P7.
Number 7.
Yes, thank you very much. Also improving at 2 tenths at the moment, so you'll find himself roughly putting himself maybe into the top 3, and second place. So
what a move.
Yeah, drivers are finding their pace. Jane Tripkov has just improved. I think Milan Mayer's up on his position. He needs to definitely put his foot down for sure. Whereas Schumacher's invalidated his lap, so he's not going to be looking all too well. It's Van Nage. Is he running? He is running, and he needs to put a lap in.
Milan Meyer is going through Brooklands at the moment. Just seeing where that timing line is going to hit on the 2nd sector.
Looks to be fairly good off the get-go. As what the hell is happening with that? There we go. So as I was saying about, because now I've actually got it, Thomas Gal putting himself as a 3rd last week. So very good positioning. He's got mild points prior. He's currently sitting in a comfortable 7th position on the championship. And as mentioned, being down in 14th is not where he wants to be. But Milan Mayer, on the other hand, currently set in 3rd place in the championship. P4, would you be happy with P4 right now?
Not if I was fighting for a championship, but I will mention Garofalo's just gone up by 2/10. But it just sounded like they slowed down. Have they run out of fuel?
You're joking me.
They were 2/10 up.
Oh dear. Yeah, I
No,
think
have they? Were they
might
doing
be.
a? Hang on, telemetry. Yeah,
he's out of fuel.
it's probably out of fuel. Either that, or they were just really well up. Like the fact that they entered the pits and it popped up with plus 0.092.
Interesting. As the only driver on track actually trying to set up a lap is our Williams driver of Nicola. He again down in P10. He is currently in this championship. I don't think he is. I'm trying to find him on this sheet. He is currently 17th with minor points at the moment. So P10 in a prime position to get some more points there as well.
Exactly, even a singular point will make a difference.
Amen. As the gap above is literally a point that can make him move up a few positions.
Such a difficult corner, that one, Cops.
Tricky indeed. Through the famous Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel.
That looks quick.
Approval from our racer
That
himself.
was really quick. That was really quick. 3/10 up. So he'd be jumping up into 4th or 6th. If he can nail the last few corners, he could easily be up in the top 5.
Well, he's got
we go.
Vale to sort out before going through Club.
Oh, come on. Aleda, can you do it? Yes, 3rd position. Wow.
A good run for Nicola, for the Williams. And I'm sure he'll be proud of that run himself. But again, you have to remember, he's off the grain while some of the drivers will start to come out to set their final lap. Someone who is on a lap, though, will be Thomas Gale, who is currently up on his time from the 1st sector. Can he put it through? He's going through Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel.
Whoa.
He's up 2/10 on his time. This will put him roughly into the points for the moment. And he needs to find something. 3rd from Monaco. What can he put forward today? Can he improve from that position today in Britain? Or does he prefer the technical tracks where it's a lot harder? Rounding the final corner is P6.
The whole grid is just switching around late game.
We've got a lot more to come. We're about down to a minute 30 left.
I think we have Andre Molnar about to start a lap. And Schumacher. Molnar starts his lap now.
I'll let you talk this one through.
Be a case of just absolutely nailing it. It's basically all or nothing at this point. It's a case of just absolutely nailing every corner, making sure that you nail every single apex, because the fact that you can just lose or gain tenths by a single mistake. And behind Schumacher is also keeping a reasonable time. I'm just going to keep an eye on and go through the timing. So it's 300ths up. Schumacher's 400ths up. Andre Molnar heading around towards Cops. They're so close on the track that it's going to be very, very, very difficult to tell.
Don't worry, when you got a quick eye, you'll be able to spot it all. As Andre Molnar heading through probably the hardest section of the track. He doesn't actually use a lot of the exit, so there's time lost already through Maggots, Beckett's, Chapel, and again, as you heard, fast. It's keeping it clean, but it's not a major improvement on this lap. Though technically it's saying it's purple, but the game lies sometimes. Into
Schumacher's down.
Schumacher's down.
He's down on his time. He's down on where he was. Andre Molnar going through to the final corner. Can they improve on their time? Let's find out. Absolutely.
P7. Schumacher next up the road. What can he put into his final time? He does not improve at all. Next up will be Andrew Crappy. He goes into the pits. So that will then go to It won't be this
Milan
driver.
Meyer.
It will be Grafu. Goes across the line. Does find some improvement, but it won't be enough. Milan Meyer not improving. How about one of the two AlphaTauris?
Oh!
Not AlphaTauris. Alfa Romeos don't improve.
Up at the second.
Wow, a brilliant run from the Hats driver.
Woof. That's a fantastic lap. Thomas Laminen, he's up on his time by a good hundredth. We're going to see how much time he can gain through the final corner. I'm not sure because I love the fact the game just pulls the timing string like that.
10th, no improvement.
Yep, no improvement there. But Jerry Tripkov, wow.
Comes out strong, Tripkov. He said he won last week. Let's say last week, 2 weeks ago, in Monaco, and he's put himself back up into second. But our current pole sitter is Rishan, who is trying to take the championship away from Thomas Lamin down in P10.
I'm just trying to find out.
What are you trying to find out?
Hang on.
I can feel the cogs turning from the way you're thinking. I can almost hear it.
Yeah. No, I'm just trying to figure out if it's Jane or something else because of Macedonia.
Oh. Get the pronunciation correct.
Well, it's more the fact of whether it's he or she.
Oh.
Because I know you've been referencing he. I don't know if anyone in the chat knows.
Chat, if you're more than welcome, if you know more information than we do, please tell us.
Yep.
We look like idiots. As I can see in the pit, so you can just see at the corner, we can see a couple of drivers going onto the mediums, a couple onto the hards. Quickly, what would be the strategy we were seeing from these drivers?
It's Yane. Okay. Yeah, I had a feeling it might be Yane. I would say, strategy-wise, the problem with F122, 9 times out of 10, it is either medium, hard, medium. Unfortunately, there isn't too much of a change.
Well, you heard it from him, and there are 5 lights as we wait to get under the way for King and Country. We're away on the British Grand Prix, and it looks to be fairly decent from the Ferrari of Rishan, and Rishan will hold that lead as he will go into the first turn, but it's a very long lunge. As who's gone out? There's a few drivers who've gone off the track, and Rishan will hold his lead, but I can see Andrew Crappy dropping down the field quite a lot and losing out on quite a few positions himself. Who else has made some gains? It seems like Thomas Gao has made a couple of gains. I think Andrew Molnar as well. So both AlphaTauris are up a few positions. Thomas Laminen has gained a few positions himself as he's up from 10 to P7. So overall, not too shabby.
There's a proper battle for 10th and for 9th place going on here between Schumacher and Karafelidis. Heading down towards Copse. We're literally going to see a Verstappen Hamilton run through Copse. That's how you do it. That's not how you do it. Commentators curse. Karafelidis off into the barrier.
Yeah, and a bit further up, Andrew Molnar, he's not wasting any time as he's just got past Milan Meyer round through Beckett. And Milan Meyer is still under threat because he might not lose out to 1. He's going to lose out to 2 positions off the start of this race. If he can hold it out into Stowe, but he's not got the pace. So round the outside if he's going to make anything into the Vale chicane. But no, Milan Meyer having a terrible start. And you can see Thomas Lamin pushing the McLaren up the rear end. He's wanting to get involved early on as there is going to be Schumacher spinning at the back.
That's lost his entire front wing, so I think there might have been contact there. Oh, that's a harsh penalty for track limits.
Massive.
I mean, that's corner cutting.
Yeah.
That will be corner cutting, that will.
It's Van Nage. I think he's had damage because he's in the pits at the moment, so replacing his front wing. But at the front, we look from P1 to P8. Well, P1 to P7. That is where our first battle is. And then we've already got a second gap break from P8 downwards.
I think Schumacher's still running without a front wing.
Yes, he is.
Just trying to pick up on any battles going on. I mean, to be fair, it's very, very close.
It's gonna be.
It's always interesting when cars go through Maggots and back into the queue.
Oh, it looks beautiful. Really does. It's one of the.
One of the best corners.
Absolutely. As we've got a ghost on track. I don't know if you noticed, Troy Parker, who joined late to this race, started down in P16. Currently as a ghost, so
Not controlled by AI by the looks. Oh no, that is way too consistent.
yeah, and also slightly ghosted as well. So Troy Parker will, if he does cross the line, will not gain anything from this race, and it is his first appearance to this race. So not probably the best way
Got a
to
yellow
start
flag.
things off. As yeah, I think it's Andrew
the pit.
Crappy retiring from the race.
Retiring in the pits now. Let's hope we're not going to safety car off that. It does happen.
It does. It does. I'm not going to deny that.
Yeah, I'm just trying to keep an eye on. Everyone's sort of starting to. I think the closest battle here we've got is between Milan Meyer and Thomas Gall.
Absolutely, but also just to point out, we're getting from Thomas Gall, his teammate is pulling away and he's struggling to keep within that second. We did see it for a brief second, and it was very brief, that Thomas Gall go into the second mark, but he's closed it down. He's already now getting extremely close once again, so we will get DRS on this run.
He's retiring on track.
No, I think he'll be alright. He'll be alright.
Well, the I drove him out the pits.
It always does
There
that.
we go. Yeah, it's pretty weird. It does look like Tripkov is actually catching up with Rashan. Slowly. And just as I say that, the first three, fastest lap, fastest lap, fastest lap.
Ooh.
So they are very similar. So what are they all running? So hards. Andre Molars on the hards. So it's hards all the way up to 11th, which is Troy Parker, which we can't really count because Ghosty. Grofu's on hards. Karafalidis is on hards. Ispandagi's on mediums.
So, in retrospect, because it's Van Nage and Schumacher, they have pitted. Everyone, bar the AI of Troy Parker, started on hards.
Yep.
And which means, what lap are we going to be expecting these drivers in?
So 26 laps to the race. I would say somewhere around lap 12, 15. That's a guess. To be honest, that's something I sort of find very difficult to keep track of sometimes.
Well,
I don't think we're going to see them pit any. I mean, Nagy may pit earlier. Or around the same time, actually, because, you know, not sure how new his tyres are.
Nage put in... He pitted on the get-go, so from the very first lap after damage, so... most likely he will push that as long as he can, as this whole thing's become a little bit of a stalemate, as Rainbow is the next driver to, I can see just on the timing screen, he dipped to that second but closed it down quickly, and it's going to be a stalemate, especially on this track for a little bit, and we're as we mentioned, lap 12, lap 15 is when we're going to see drivers really start to make some moves as we close in onto the pit stop. So for now, it's just a case of seeing who's going to apply pressure to force a mistake.
Yeah, the thing is, technically, you could run these hard tyres for a long way. Because the hards do last an absolute age, but I wouldn't, Mediums, I know, 12, 15. Yeah, 15. And then you get 10 laps on either mediums or you can't pull the softs. That's about 9 laps.
Well, we'll have to wait and see as
exactly.
Tripkov is slowly... There is a small advantage here. pulling himself a little bit of a gap, but once you get back on that straight, it just disappears. And when we do get overtaking, the key points, and I think one of the biggest areas of overtaking is going to be into Stowe, which the drivers have just all filtered through. You can see a couple, and it's a little bit rarer through Village at turn 3. But a good run. So onto this part here, through the start-finish straight. You can go fairly flat out. At this point, a lot of the drivers will slightly lift through turn 1. But here, if you get a good run, you can launch into Village. And then the next overtaking opportunity will be turn 6 into Brooklands. And then follow it through Luffield. And then if you really got a good run out of Luffield, turn 9 of Cops are your biggest...
Cops is a difficult one to go through because you are pretty much going flat out.
When you do it, it does look good. And I've just seen, and critically 2 points out, Thomas Gao is a second behind Andrew Mulner.
He's getting close. I'm just sort of trying to figure out when he'd be an attacking opportunity. So trying to figure out the range where they can attack from. As the cars are all starting to get closer and closer and closer. Because last lap, I believe Tripkov was somewhere in the 6 to 7 tenths. Now he's back to 6th, but using the ERS, that's getting way closer.
Yeah, but you don't want to use your ERS a bit too early. And this track, yeah, I would say recharge, and you can agree to disagree. I'd say the recharging rate on this track is better than other tracks. I wouldn't say the strongest, but it's one of the better tracks.
No, definitely. And I mean, from what I've seen, as Tomas Gall, that's the fastest lap of the race so far. From what I've seen, Tripkov is sort of keeping in around 30%. So there's some ERS management going on here. I'm just going to jump forward to Rashan, who's on 90%, so confident in the lap times. It's just a case of can they pull it back. I mean, so far I haven't seen them go below 5 tenths from Rashan.
Well, that shows great race pace and a good setup behind the two drivers ahead. But I want to talk about Liam Stevens.
Yes.
I'm going to have to quick double check, but I don't recall that name actually popping up into this championship just yet. And yeah, he has not raced in this tier before. So welcome, Liam Stevens, to F4. And what a way to start things off. Starting himself, qualifying in a decent position. And then Liam Stevens currently racing in P3 at the moment.
Absolutely. I'm just checking. I'm just trying to figure out whether he's on a wheel.
I think a lot of these guys would be on a wheel.
They will be, but I know there are some really quick drivers on pad. I don't know how they're that quick.
I think at this point, because we have just as a reminder to everybody who is watching, all these drivers have no assists on right now, so there is nothing to help them. No line, no ABS, no braking point, nothing. They have to rely on their own skill, particularly no traction control. That's the one that kills me the most. But
it looks like a wheel.
There are, and I get why you're looking. There are a few drivers that can use the pad extremely well. One of the drivers that pops to my mind was on the Xbox side of things, named Sierra, an absolutely sterling driver who drove on pad, and he was winning races for his team quite a lot. But there are some tracks that are for the controller, but there are a lot. I think nowadays, and especially how F1 2022 has become, I would say this is definitely a wheel-based game now.
Which isn't a bad thing, because at the end of the day, he is a little bit closer. I think that Rashan is not using ERS and has managed that way better than Tripkov. Because if you look at Tripkov, they're at 21%, Rashan's at 84%.
As a bit further back, I'm just going to draw our attention back to P8 Rainbow, overtaking his teammate QKS. Don't think that was team orders. There are no no engineers here, and Rainbow saying,
Whoa! QKS nearly lost it.
very close. As you can tell when a driver overtakes at this point, there is a bit of impatience. They know they have that faster pace than the other driver, and you can already see pulling 7/10 away from QKS. Rainbow is trying to hunt down and close the gap to rejoin the back of the pack, as we're getting closer to the pit stop window.
Exactly. It'll be interesting to see when drivers pit, if they pit early. If they try the undercut, because it's not too much of a thing in the games. Unless you absolutely nail it.
See, I've seen the undercut work quite well with a lot of this racing, because you have to remember these tires. Normally we run at these tires at what, about 80 to 90 degrees centigrade. Yeah. When the tires come out, they're actually ran about 50 degrees, and they are extremely cold. And once you get going, you then put it, once you start driving on them, you very quickly put it into 70. But even at that temperature range, it's still, you don't have the traction, you won't have that pace. So sometimes that undercut can work because you heat up those tires, and if you can punch in that good lap, you can take advantage. But the counter argument is, if you've got still tire life in your tires, then the overcut could be in favour, and I'm not sure which one on this track is stronger.
Yeah, it's not an easy one.
It's not at all, as it's the gappers. I know you've been focusing near the front. I think we've briefly noticed, but Tripkov has actually lost out a little bit as he's dropped back from Rashan.
Yeah, I think we're probably going to see, based on what I can see of, so I can't see any information on tyre wear, unfortunately. But I'd assume they're quite far on the tyre wear at this point.
We would be getting, well, the hard tyres, you said they can last to roughly that 15, correct?
Yeah, if you're, well, I mean, technically you can go a little bit further, but you'd realistically want to be coming in on that 15 at the latest.
So that being said, I'd probably say these drivers are probably hitting the 50% mark with these tyres. Though, that being said, I do know an amazing tyre whisperer, Thomas Harvey. McLaren, I think it's Thomas Harvey, or is it Harvey Cohen? Oh God, I've forgotten which one it is. It's Harvey Cohen, sorry. The McLaren Shadow driver. He's the development driver. Can pull off tyres and keep, do a whole race and keep them at 70%. It was a wet race in Monza that he's done it, but so would you see and would you take that risk by going extremely long on a dry race?
Not on a dry race. Wet race, yes. Dry race, not so much, because it's just unpredictable. If you go past a certain point, then you start getting into the puncture territory, and that could just end a race. So it's not really much point in pushing it. The biggest problem is that if Rashan pits, he's likely coming out in 12th. Because there is nothing between these drivers. The entire top 7 is separated by what? It's insane. Let me just... As this Van Nagy gets a time penalty. Let me just check. So the entire top 7 is separated by 4 seconds. Whew. It's roughly... What? 15-second pit stop here?
No, I think it's more 22 second pit stop. That's also assuming you get the purple mark, because there is an immersive pit stop, so you have to say when you're going to turn into the pit box, and that will determine your pit stop length. So factor that in, probably
you come out around 13th.
Yeah, which
wouldn't be ideal.
Which it's not the best, but realistically speaking, this is where the esports scene becomes a bit more interesting because of the close nature of the racing. You see these drivers ever so close to one another. Pace is absolutely critical. So saving up your ERS, which Roshan has from your observation, he will be able to. So say if Tripkov goes in early, he goes for that undercut. Roshan then has energy to fight back, and then those brief amount of times he will be able to retain his position a lot better. So there is a lot more factors that you see in esports racing than I'm not going to say it's harder. I don't want to say it's that. There's a lot more factors that you built in as you would in an F1 race.
Yeah, exactly. The thing is, the battle for P1 right now is about 6 to 7 seconds, and it is growing. So we are going to see if anyone's going to pit soon, because there we go, Thomas Lamminen.
Championship leader.
Pitting early.
Yeah, championship leader. He's near the back of the train, so he does have that luxury where he can do it and see what happens. And I've come later on, because the longer you're out on those fresh tyres, the more positions technically you can gain off it.
Apologies, I'm just coughing.
That's fine. As we're going to see, the pit stop, is it going to be quick? It's looking certain. So as mentioned, down in P12, so he will drop to the back. So who is next to react? If you're the top 6, who would you put your money on going in next?
If I'm honest, probably Tripkov. But they're probably going to try and push it as far as they can. Because I assume the problem is they've got to, if Roshan pits now, Tripkov has to make up at least so many seconds on them, and then even then they're going to drop down into the back of the grid. None of them will really want to switch tyres right now.
Well, the moment
I don't honestly know. Like, that's the thing. It's very difficult to tell because everyone's so close. They're not going to want to switch tyres.
Well, the moment of truth is about to come. We can see Liam Stevens. He's pushing hard. He's saying, yeah, I want to do it. As Thomas Gal is going to be the next driver into the pit. So he's reacting to the pit stop. So where is our championship leader? There he is. He's just coming through Chapel as we speak. And you can see there's a few other drivers who've gone in as well. Rainbow, Nicola have also decided, yep, now is the time. So Thomas Lamminen, has he put in the lap time of his dreams?
Essentially, I have just noticed something, and that's that Tripkov was very close to Roshan. Has Roshan been pushing their tyres too hard because they're within 5/10?
Well, moment of truth. As you can see, a purple last sector. You can see that Thomas Gal is on track and massively ahead of Thomas Lamminen. And it is not worked out. And our championship leader has not gained anything from this.
No, the thing is, he has to work on the fact that all the people above him have to pit. Apart from Thomas Gal.
Absolutely.
The thing is, right now, everyone behind is so close together.
They are ridiculously close. Closer than normal. They're all dropping in within the 5/10 mark. Who's next to be victim?
There we go. Both in.
All in.
All three. Oh, no. Ooh, that was close, Liam. Wow. Nearly rear-ended the Haas. Actually, 4th and 5th in the pits. 6th in the pits. Groff is about to take the lead.
Well, he has to. The Mercedes is in the pit box at the moment, so it's a case of who had the quicker pit stop. Has anyone moved around?
7th in the pits. Miltos Karafalidis going up into 2nd position, but they are going to have to pit.
No one's moved positions. No one at all has moved a position.
The line. That was an incredible whip from all of them.
And there we go, a bit further back, you can just see
that.
at the back, Thomas Gal He's going to find himself Miller Mayer off the exit. He's got himself into Village, so there's one position for him. You have to remember, the rest of these drivers are on cold tyres, and Thomas Gal has had 1 lap to really heat up those tyres. So Laminin, as well, has had 2 laps to get his tyres up to temperature. And he too wants to get involved in this little battle, as through Brooklyn, he's not going to find it, but round the outside of Luffield,
can he get the cutback? No.
that is going to be brave and bold, but with a good exit, Cops might not be out the question here. And Laminin needs to find positions to retain this championship, as that ahead of him is a championship contender, Milan Mayer. So he needs to do something to at least stay second in this championship, because at this point, he won't lose the position because of points difference, but that gap will close.
Absolutely, and it's just a case of figuring out where people are going to go. As Garofu goes into the pits, Miltos stays out. And here comes Rashan, who is going to potentially take back their second place.
He will 100% take that back, and
what a strategy.
It is, and the fact everyone deciding the same time, no one risking it, and we saw, especially off the undercut, wasn't the strongest, but put yourself 2 laps, and then you saw the likes of Thomas Laminin gaining a position. Well, actually, no, he didn't really gain any position. My apologies. But Thomas Gal able to capitalize on that 1 position, but now finds himself back into a situation where he actually now is under threat by Milan Mayer, who might want to look back and retake it, as he's lost a second behind his teammates. So getting very close and personal, Milan Mayer, and we know he likes to push. He knows he doesn't like to waste time, especially when his championship contender is right behind him. So Mayer needs to do something if he wants to get something out of it, as their Gal is got a 3-second time penalty, and that is music to Mayer's ears.
The thing is, you can't argue with that. He went way too wide on Cops. He was miles off of the track. And here comes Mayer. He's got massive overspeed. Blimey.
Massive amount, but it's not enough really to make the move, and you need to be side by side to make anything into Vale, and decide, I'm gonna have to wait for a little bit longer. You can start to see, I think I just saw briefly the red light come out from Milan Mayer, so he has been attacking to try and make the overtake happen. No, the light's coming from Thomas Gal, and that is music to Milan Mayer's ears, with 54% on his tank and a driver ahead less than 10%. And you can see the corner of your screen, the green light on his dashboard, meaning he is using overtake, the ERS, but not enough to make the move.
Exactly, and the thing is, this is something I can definitely say I'm not the best at, and that's ERS management. It's knowing when to press it and when to not, because of the fact that if you don't have the pace, there's no point in using it. Because you just run out and then you... Oh, stealth the track. Nicely done, Tomas. The thing is, I'm looking up front right now in this front battle. Karafalidis is most likely going to pit.
He has to.
No, he isn't.
Oh, wait. Is he one of the drivers that...
Wait.
Yeah, he does.
Oh, he has to pick, because I thought he was at the mediums.
No, he does have
That would have been big brain moves. That would have been insane.
No, unfortunately, Kalafalitis does have to pit, but he will, I feel, with what he's going to do, he's going to try and extend this out, get fresher mediums for the end, because they've all pitted, what, lap 17?
Yep. Well, they all pitted around laps 16, 15.
Yeah, so they're around the safety region that you've suggested, but as I jokingly said to these drivers before starting, is the land of king and country and puncture galore. And it is known, everyone knows that Silverstone is very hard wearing on these tyres. So high degradation is very key. So we might see you know, some of these drivers actually get punctures. So Miltos in first right now might be actually playing a smarter strategy by staying out just that few more laps longer and bringing himself a safety net for his tyres.
I think it's some drivers are sharing their telemetry. So I can see, for instance, like you've got certain drivers who are on 20% tyres, but it's estimating different. Now, the fact that it's estimating a reasonable number for Karafalidis.
Jane Tripkov just having a little brief look at Rashan. I think he's getting punchy, Tripkov. I think a move might be inevitable in a few laps.
Getting very close. The danger, of course, with pushing of tyres is you can overheat them.
That's indeed as through into what will be heading into Village. Through Abbey and then into Village. And where is those times? As it's actually Liam Stevens, that driver, just a little bit further back. The Mercedes really wanting a bit of action as he gets using a very attacking line. And Stevens might want to eye up a move as he gains closer and closer into Brooklands, but he's just a little too far away just for this moment. But Stevens is pushing Tripkov around.
The thing is, you got to get this right as well, because he's going to be in the dirty air regardless. There isn't too much of a dirty air problem in F122, but it's still a thing. Are going to head into Maggots and Beckett's with the drivers not too far apart, and they've gained 3-ish seconds on Karafalidis in 3 laps.
They are hunting the driver down, and
so they have 9, 10, 11, 12. So they have what? 7 laps, 6 after this few sets of quarters. So they can gain 6 seconds. They'll be within touching distance. So regardless if Karafalidis pits now or not, if it hasn't, they're going to catch him anyway.
Absolutely, and
so I think Karafalidis is just going for it, personally.
Liam Stevens once again is ridiculously close. This could be a possible Village move if he looks carefully enough, but again, just a little too far back. And Liam's found some good pace. He doesn't have a lot of ERS himself, so he's unable to go full beans, full attack that he wants to. But off pure pace, he's finding it in the exits and in the traction zones. And I feel it's going to be a case of I like to use this analogy. It's like a relationship, a really bad one. It's brewing, and at some point it's going to break and hell's going to break loose. And Liam is waiting for the slight excuse to blow up. And yes, it's very much like a relationship, but I tell you who's crept in and also now going to put pressure is Andrew Molnay.
Not an easy name to say, to be fair.
Not an easy name. He has closed in, and he too is pressuring Liam Stevens for the front.
Miltos.
As there's a puncture. It's puncture for Miltos.
Puncture City, as we said.
I did say
he pushed that way too hard. And as I said, when you said, is it worth risking it? And I said no. Because this happens. Because it is a very warm track at the moment. That track is 29 degrees.
29 in Britain? What?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, the track will be 29, but the air temperature's 20. So be fair, that's...
No.
You remember last year's Grand Prix was like 36.
Yeah, welcome to the British weather, where it's unpredictable as hell, and then we moan about it.
I think we're going to see a move from Tripkov on the Wellington, potentially.
No.
Nope, that mistake out the corner will have caused a problem there. They're going to get close, but the problem is I just don't think they've got enough laps. But I want them to be able to make the move because it makes for great racing.
Yeah, so we are going to be heading into
this is going to be
6
so
laps at the moment left in this battle. So, yeah, 6 laps left. And it's all to play for. We're going to start to see the drivers really applying pressure. They're going to be definitely wanting to cause some mistakes amongst these drivers. Milan Mayer's unable to get into this battle for the top 4. So this is a battle for the podium position. And again, Liam Stevens through Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel closing up to James
That was fast.
James
He's got the overspeed.
And he's possibly going to look for this. Is he going to do the move now? Or is he going to wait? Nope, he is impatient.
Oh, my word.
Through Stowe, he's going to find the inside line. Can he force Tripkov onto the inside? He will, but Tripkov will have a good lunge in, but he's overshot it. He has the inside line. The switch back from Liam will be favourable through into the final corner of Club, and they're still going side by side. Liam is holding on for dear life through Abby, and that will be in favour of Liam Stevens. But Tripkov, if he wants to play risky, could fight back, but he's going to have to give in to the position. But this will now open the door for Andrew Molnar, because he's now seen that battle unfold. If he gets a good exit here, Andrew Molnar might want a little move, and you can see James Tripkov is having to defend. He's opened the door slightly for Andrew Molnar, and Molnar is going to try and look for what he can. If he gets a good line out to the exit of Luffield, can he go for Cops? No, he's just a little too far back.
We are going to see Andre Molnar start to catch up with Yane. He's going to be immensely close between the top 4. But Liam has just fallen out of the DRS.
That is quite dangerous, especially at this point of the races where you do not want to lose your DRS.
He's using the ERS to try and get back, but that's why you keep your ERS, because he's out. Liam is out of ERS.
A danger zone for our driver, and Liam putting on a good show, consistently third throughout this race, finding himself now in second, and also first race for F4 for Liam Stevens. And I wouldn't say he's in a comfortable position. He made his move early, and I think it's cost him a little too much, but we're gonna have to wait and see what the pace of these drivers are, because we still have another 3 laps to go.
Which is not many. But then again, given the fact that he's 1.2 now, he's losing 0.2 a lap.
Oh.
But to be honest, Tripkov's also falling back from Stevens.
Recharging before the final battle, most likely.
Very likely, as most of these drivers should be. Because quite frankly, if you're using your ERS at this point, like, yeah, drivers will be using it, but you really do not want to be out of ERS for the final laps.
Agreed, for sure. But at this current rate, and we've got to talk about him, because he's been consistent. But it is this man here in the Ferrari, Rishan, holding his own, keeping it calm, nothing too aggressive, and he is gonna be taking the championship today. Well, not the full championship. You're taking the lead of the championship, and after his brilliant performance off the get-go, getting himself a second place in Spain, hasn't had the best of performances for the last few races, and particularly last race, finding himself only picking up 3 points. Rishan's on a point to actually win his first race of F4.
Exactly. I'm going to have to quickly dive to those. Sorry, I know there's only a couple of laps left.
No problem. I
will be 30 seconds.
I can manage about, a good few minutes. Don't you worry about that. As we will stick with the front runners. It's where the battle really is, as we can actually see Thomas Gao in danger zone from him losing his DRS to the drivers ahead. He needs to close that down to make sure he doesn't get any problems. But there you go. That's the second mark. And that's down the straight as well. So he's losing out dramatically here. And Thomas Gao, as mentioned, a brilliant driver who got third from Monaco. He's I don't think he's going to be a too happy bunny, if I say so myself. He's not going to be overly pleased with where he is in P7, but it is still points nonetheless. Near the front, we're at lap 24 of 26. It is ramping up right now. We are getting to the serious business. With 3 laps, they're going to close it down to 2. And this is where we're going to see the drivers really start to be playful. They're going to start themselves to ramp up the pace. You can see just in the corner of your screen the 34 on Tripkov's steering wheel, as he knows that's his position. He knows that he got mugged earlier on when Liam Stevens a few laps ago took that off him, and what was Tripkov's race to be sat in second, and his potential to fight Roshan has now become a battle of second instead of a battle of first, and he's closing that gap, being just under the 4/10 mark, but not finding a good exit on the end of Village. And he's got a lot of pressure behind him. I don't think moves will happen on this lap, but definitely for the final lap, as they're going to stay secure, stay with their positions for now. The most likely, and realistically, we might see the earliest move into Stowe on this lap. The question really stands is, are you going to take that risk? Are you going to willingly go an entire lap where you're going to have to fend off these other drivers, and particularly the roar and might that these drivers present, as the driver who really is probably going to be the first one. I just saw briefly dropping into the 0.2 of a second, but getting a terrible exit was Milan Mayer.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, you just joined us back right at the end, and I mentioned just a moment ago Tripkov using Stowe. I said Stowe was the earliest. You could see some moves, and you can see Tripkov. He is eyeing up that position. He is wanting to make a move as soon as possible. He's charged up his battery to a fair amount, but it's now or never if he wants to make a move.
I think it's Stevens. But he's using it. He's using it sparingly, though. The thing is, he shouldn't use it down the Wellington. Unless he sees Tripkov start catching.
Interesting to hear, and you can see Tripkov already 5/10 back, not looking favourable.
Yep, that was perfect.
Molnar and Mayer, they're all within, you'd have to seriously lunge to make anything happen, but nothing from the first of the, well, I'd say there is one other into Cops, but realistically, I don't think they're all close enough for that one either.
Exactly. I'm not too sure how realistic a move from Tripkov is now. It's only a few corners remaining.
We're going to have to wait and see, as they do keep clean. He keeps it close through Maggots, Beckett, and through Chapel. And yeah, that gap is a little too far back.
Oh my word.
A good exit. Might be able to catapult himself through. Tripkov is going to have a look. He's got the ERS advantage. Goes to the outside. Dives to the inside.
Amazing.
And Tripkov will try and fight this out. But Liam is still going. Liam is saying, oh, I ain't giving up that position. It's going to be down to the wire through Vale Chicane. And it's going to be Tripkov. But a switchback from Liam. It's down to the line. It's going to be to the end. It's Liam Stevens who will take second place off Tripkov. And all too close, but I think that will go into Stewart's office, because Tripkov was pushed wide. But we have to mention our race winner, Roshan, winning this race.
My word. That was insane driving from up front, because it was just consistency. As I say, if you can be consistent on Silverstone and start pulling away.
Look at the
My
time.
goodness. I don't think there was anything wrong with that move.
There was a little bit of contact between Stevens and Tripkov. And
there was, but
that will 100% go to the stewards. They will like to have a look. I mean, whether action will be taken is down to interpretation.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, they're both fairly amenable in the chat, in the drivers' chat. So it looks like neither of them will really report that, because it was hard racing at the end of there. It's a final lap.
Oh, absolutely. And there will be mistakes. There will be people who would then push themselves wider, get their elbows out, try and make sure they hold their position. But and that is critically what racing is about: is getting your elbows out and pushing everyone to the limits. And you love to see it when these drivers do that.
I mean, that switchback was insane on the last corner.
That was very good. And I love to see that form of racing. Even if it's for second place, it is brilliant. Everyone in chat, who is your driver of the day? The game is saying Garufu. To be honest, I'm going to say it's Liam Stevens for me. Liam Stevens is my personal driver of the day. What is yours, Stuart?
Again, honestly, Liam Stevens. Garufu, the thing is, the game only works off of places gained. for driver of the day. That's actually how it works it out. But yeah, it's the case of, I would say Liam Stevens just purely because of the drive.
Absolutely. And there you go, ladies and gents. So the order stands as Rashan will win this race, followed by Liam Stevens with only the smallest of gap. We're talking 0.035 of a second between the two drivers. Andrew Molnir will take 4th, with Milan Mayer taking 5th. Thomas Laminen taking 6th, which will mean he will lose the championship title spot as of this moment, but I'd have to do the maths to see if he drops down to 3rd or if he'll remain to 2nd. Thomas Gall finding himself into P7, not the best performance for him after the back of Monaco. Nicola Adelaide into P8, Rainbow in P9, Girafu in P10, Miltus Calafridis in P11, a decent recovery after a puncture. Troy Parker will be invalidated due to being a ghost. Schumacher in 13th, QKS in 14th, Istvan Nage 15th, and Andrew Crappy in 16th. And what a race that was.
Well, that was an insane race. My voice is practically gone.
Hardcore.
Where do you find the drivers' standings?
It should be under standings, and then you just find the section under it. But yeah, a brilliant race, and just while we close this out, and any major points from that race today?
Honestly, just insane driving from everyone involved. I think that's the main thing. Because Silverstone is not an easy track. People might like to make it sound like an easy track because it's got a lot of long straights, but it is a surprisingly difficult track to get your strategy right on because you can lose so much time, as I mentioned previously.
Agreed, and especially when the battles do form, they do open up. It does become an absolutely brilliant track to watch. It poses a lot of challenges, and this is also why we see this track being used as a qualifying circuit because of that challenging nature. But I'm looking forward to what will happen. But we move forward into Portimao in Portugal next. It will be on the 4th, as we are going to be celebrating the new year. Hell no, I'm not going to be doing any commentary for that week. Is the honest answer. I ain't doing anything for that week. So from the 4th, we will be back in Portimao. I think the 4th does land on our day. It'll be the 5th, technically speaking. So we'll see you back on the 5th of December for more racing. But if you want some more juicy action, I do believe there is going to be some racing tomorrow with the PS lot. And we'll be getting action from them. Any last words from you, Stuart?
Not particularly. Just, again, just fantastic racing and surprisingly clean.
Absolutely. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you on the 5th.
This broadcast was brought to you by GT Omega, proudly supporting PSGL.
me.